What's up guys, today we're going to be going over the tractor cannon right now, and this stems back to when I was recording for the super comparison video and I was using tractor throughout the strike. I felt like it did a lot more damage than I remembered, and I wanted to test it down the road to see if it's secretly a DPS monster and one of the best solo picks in the entire game for both total damage output and DPS. So that is going to be what we're going to be testing in this video, along with making a really cool build and showing off why it's arguably the best solo pick in the game. So jumping straight into the damage on Carl, usually it will hit for 13,000 twice, but then on future shots, because it does apply a 30% debuff, it will go up to 20,000 twice per shot, or a total of a little bit over 41,000. And we go and test the rate of fire of this weapon with 2 max, so 7 shots, reload, and 7 shots with max reload speed. It's gonna be very fast. The first 7 shots takes roughly 4.4 seconds. Then reload, shoot 7 more. The 2 mags will take 10.3 seconds. So the base DPS is 65.7 and 56,000 over 2 mags, which isn't up there with some of the highest scenes, but not too far off. Most of the highest picks in the game are roughly around 80,000. But we can easily scale this up very quickly by ourselves. First, using volatile flow for the volatile rounds with void weapons. So with that, we simply just pick up a void elemental well, proc the volatile rounds for 16 seconds. Now every single shot of tractor will also be hitting 10,000 because it will instantly apply the volatile and cause it to explode all in the one shot. So even at max rate of fire, it will add that 10,000 per shot, which will raise the DPS to 81.6 and almost 70,000 over 2, which is already right in there with some of the best picks in the game, for example Ehroar, Sleeper, anything like that. But we can keep going with Phantom Might. So now when we pick up the Void Elemental Well, we proc both volatile rounds and Phantom Might, which will be a 25% buff to our void weapons. So now we already have a 30% debuff, 25% buff, and volatile rounds. And now with all that going on, we're almost at 100,000 already. And over 2 max, still 84,000. So now we're already entering the territory of like Izanagi rocket combos in terms of DPS. But we're not done yet. You can also throw in high energy fire plus elemental charge. That way, when we pick up the void elemental well, we'll get all those different things at the same time. And you just need one way to create wells, which will be your 5th mod. So on Hunter, Reaping Wellmaker, Warlock, you could use Ordnance, and on Titan, you can use whatever you want, maybe Melee Wellmaker. So once again, the 5 mods will be Volatile Flow, then High Energy Fire, Phantom Might, Elemental Charge, then one way to create it, Reaping Wellmaker. So now we create the Void Elemental Well, get Phantom Might, 2 stacks of Charge of Light, which will give us High Energy Fire. We get Volatile Rounds, and also debuff the target with the tractor itself. So now with all that going on, our DPS is now 114,000 and over 2 still almost 100,000, which is both great burst and sustained DPS. And this weapon holds 17 base reserves. With double shotgun reserves, it will go up to 20. So the total damage output is going to be between 1.2 and 1.4 million, which once again for a single weapon is extremely good. Now it's not going to be up there with, you know, Izanagi plus Rocket in terms of total damage output for like raid boss fights where you have entire team giving you buffs and debuffs, but for solo play it really cannot be topped. That DPS number is so high, and it's extremely easy to pull off that combo by yourself. All you have to do is simply create one void well before the boss fight or whatever you're trying to kill, and you get all those things right off the bat. So for solo play or even 3-man activities, if we compare that to something like Ehroar or Sleeper, it's gonna be impossible to give yourself all the same buffs and debuffs that you can with Tractor because they're both solar weapons. So you could give yourself Phantom Might and High Energy Fire, but that requires you to be on a solar subclass, which means you can't get the 15% debuff from a Void Grenade. So instead you could play Void and have the 15% debuff, but then you couldn't get Phantom Might. So it's just straight up impossible to get the same amount of buffs and debuffs that you can with the Tractor. So finishing off the build, I like to run the Tractor. Then you can throw on a few different combos. One is the Deafening Whisper because it's void for all the same buffs and debuffs that the Tractor can get. And with that, if you have a Osmosis primary, that will be the best, for example, in Judgment. Or what we could do is throw on a special kinetic of choice, then run a void primary, for example, the Funnel Web or Every Wicked Moment. Either combo would work extremely well. Then once again, the 5 mods that we went over before. And this combo is even better on Hunter because the Tractor will both weaken and suppress targets, which means every time you get a final blow with it, you will proc the Stylish Executioner aspect and go invis, which is yet just another way to constantly go invis on Hunter and just further play into that entire subclass build. So the Tractor and this build is extremely good for solo play. I think it is by far the best DPS option. when you're not in a full fire team of 6 with multiple people putting down buffs and debuffs. So where this really shines is solo lost sectors for dealing with the champions in the final boss of the sector itself. So for example, today's was unstoppable and anti-barrier, but as you see, I can 3-shot every single champion, which means I don't even need barrier. They die well before they can even put up their barrier. 1, because they die in 3 shots, and 2, because the tractor will stun lock them, so they can't even put up the barrier even if they wanted to. While you're doing this, you might want to throw on the Lucent Finisher to maybe finish 1 or 2 champions along the way. Depending on how many champions there are, you should be good on ammo, but if it's a lost sector with quite a few champions, you might need like 1 ammo brick to drop, and that is a guaranteed way to get one, so I definitely recommend running that. And yeah, I think that is all I gotta say. The Tractor Cannon with this build is the highest DPS you can give yourself, and it's really only topped by Izanagi plus rocket combos, which is first of all 2 weapons, and second of all, you need a full fire team to give you all the buffs and debuffs. While this is completely by yourself, all you have to do is get 1 Void Well, and you have the entire combo right off the bat. Anyways, I think that's gonna be it for the commentary, just some gameplay left. Like usual, thanks for watching, catch you next time.